Jazzcast Pros.
Hi, graceful grinders and C-suite sisters. It's your girl, Dr. Pamala Brown-Grinion, here for another exciting episode of the Grace and Grind podcast. I have a very special guest, Mr. Mike Hinsvard, and he is a managing partner with Dreams Business Resources. And what his organization does is help C-suite executives just like yourselves to maximize on employee benefits and resources that will help your organization save money. I know that you guys are going to be tuned in and very interested in this podcast. So we're going to jump right in and say a hearty hello to Mike Hinsvard. Mike, thank you so much for joining the Grace and Grind podcast today.
Thanks for having me here, Dr. Pamela. It's great to be with you.
Yeah, so we're going to have a wonderful conversation about something that is really making a lot of noise in media right now, and that is the R&D tax credit. So can you just tell my listeners, what is the R&D tax credit and why is it so beneficial that C-suite executives pay attention and take advantage of these benefits for their organization?
Well, thank you for asking. And I'll tell you what, it stands for the Research and Development Tax Credit. And the name throws everybody off thinking, you have to have a laboratory, and you do not. And so it should be called the New Product and or New Processes Tax Credit. And about 40% of businesses in America can qualify for the substantial tax credit every single year. And most businesses haven't taken advantage of it. And you can go back and amend your prior 3 years returns and take advantage of that as well. And it's, we're talking, tens, if not hundreds of thousands, and oftentimes millions of dollars just for 1 year.
Wow, that's amazing. And when we were speaking yesterday, you mentioned that the tax credit increased like exponentially.
It did. So the bill that was just signed into law on the 4th of July, 13 days ago, quintupled 5 times the amount that a business can claim in any 1 year. Now, so for 2025, and it's retroactive, by the way, not just for 2025, but 2024, 23, and 22. So I had to go verify this on ChatGPT because it definitely sounds too good to be true. But it quintupled 4 times. Okay, so you get, instead of taking 20% a year and spreading it over 5 years, you can claim it all right now in 2025. But you can do that on the 3 prior years too. So it's 20 times more that a business can get actually right now if they take advantage of this.
20 times more?
Yes, 5 times more, and they can do the current year plus 3 prior years, times 4.
Wow, 5 times. Wow. So that's 100%, Mike.
It's incredible. I don't even know the word for 20 times. I know the word for 5 times, quintuple, but that's just 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah. So most businesses probably would assume that only the giants like Google and Amazon and Microsoft, like they're the only ones that can take advantage of that. Can we go ahead and dispel that myth right now and clear that up for the listeners?
Absolutely. And originally, this has been out since 1981. And originally, it was designed for the giant corporations, but it's evolved over the years and it became permanent in 2015. The Research and Development Tax Credit. And now businesses small and large can all take advantage of it. And like I said, about 40% of businesses can. And I'll give you an example. If a company is just trying to make their product cleaner, greener, quicker, cheaper, or, they're developing, any newer improved product, any newer improved process, formula, invention, software, or technique, well, they qualify. And, every product in a grocery store on every aisle is made by a company that qualifies for the R&D tax credit, including the fruits and vegetables, farms, wineries, breweries, distilleries. It's wide open for so many businesses to take advantage of.
Wow. So you mentioned something that really piqued my interest. You said processes. So can you give us an example of a process that, let's say, if someone didn't have a farm or didn't have a research lab, like what type of processes could qualify for this?
That's a great question. And so, like, let me give you an example. Candle company, okay? And they have a lemon pineapple scent, let's just say. And right now it's 50-50, the scent. Hey, we're going to try, let's try 60-40, anything. And that's a change, right? That's a change to the process and the formula, or an assembly line where they change, let's do this before we do this. There's a yogurt company, new flavors. And so there's, every company, I think, is trying to make their product cleaner, greener, quicker, cheaper, better every year. And the other beautiful part of this is even if it doesn't work, you qualify.
Wow.
The movie Big with Tom Hanks, there was a meeting there where everybody was talking about this building that turned into a monster. And everyone in that meeting, including the CEO of the company, all their salaries times the time in that meeting is all R&D tax credit.
Wow. Now, what if I have a service? Can organizations that provide services also qualify for this tax credit?
It's possible. So a service organization, there's a lot of different factors, but we can make that determination in about 5 minutes. A 5-minute conversation will determine if you qualify. But let me give you the areas where it's 100% almost qualify. Manufacturing, this is a patriotic tax credit. Just so you know, 50 countries offer this tax credit, and it's designed to make America competitive on a global scale. But construction, almost all construction qualifies. Engineering, art, agriculture, architecture, software, technology, all of that qualifies for this program.
Wow, that's amazing, Mike. Now, I heard that there's a big shift in how R&D expenses can be claimed under this new bill. Can you walk us through what's different and what business owners truly need to understand that right now? Or what were those some of the ones that you just mentioned?
Yeah, and by the way, I want to be clear that it's not just those industries. So we helped an autism school where they develop curriculum for children with autism. And there's a company called Scrubs, and there was 2 nurses who actually were just making, nurse outfits at home and selling them out of their trunk in the hospital parking lot. And they became very popular, and then they got bought by a company, and they get $5 million a year now in R&D tax credits. And so the process is basically just to set up a 5-minute phone appointment with an expert, and they'll ask you a few basic questions in terms of what your company does. There's a 4-part test, but sometimes that throws a lot of people off too. And I'll just tell you the 4 pieces. You have to be improving a product or a process, okay? And somehow you're improving, making a difference. And it's technological in nature, but again, you wouldn't think that the School for Autistic Children would qualify, but they do. And it aims to eliminate uncertainty. There's some form of uncertainty or experimentation involved where they're not positive of the outcome to start. But I'll tell you, so many companies actually find out that they qualify, and they're very, it's very exciting, very substantial. And hey, if you deserve it, if you qualify for it, you should be taking it.
Wow, that's amazing. So let me ask you this. If someone missed this back in 2022, 2023, you said that they could go back and they can amend to get the credit now in 2025 or 2026, like they can go back?
Yes.
Or is there a cutoff for when you can apply for these, for the back 3 years?
There is a cutoff, but it's, for right now, if you file for 2024, right, we're in 2025, you can go back 3 years. So once we go into 2026, you will only be able to go back to 2023. So you'll lose 2022. So it is important to do it as soon as possible. I used to always say you quadruple your credit because you can go back 3 years. So you can do 2024, 23, 22, and 21 right now. But starting, next year, you'll lose you still be able to go back 3 years, but it'll be different 3 years. So there's definitely urgency to make sure you take advantage of it right away.
Wow, that's amazing. So you call this the biggest payroll tax refund opportunity in U.S. history. That's a big statement to make. Help us understand why this moment is such a game changer for businesses, especially the small and mid-sized businesses.
Well, that's a great point, is that there's 70,000 pages in the tax code. And this is hard to believe, but there's over 5,000 tax credits in the tax code. And most accountants are, their focus is filing taxes, not knowing 5,000 tax credits, right?
Right.
And so there's 55 companies in the United States, including Nike, FedEx, and Amazon, that pay no tax, right? We all hear that story, but it's true. 55 companies avoided $8.5 billion in taxes. But that's not the end of the story. They actually got, those same 55 companies received $3.5 billion in tax credits, or in tax benefits, right? So that's a $12 billion swing. And I asked ChatGPT, can you explain why that is? And they said those 55 companies are playing chess and everybody else is playing checkers. And I love that analogy, because we just want to teach you not just the R&D tax credit, but also, like you mentioned, and we'll do another podcast on how to substantially save on payroll tax savings, which every company with 10 or more employees that are W-2 can get some very substantial permanent every year payroll tax savings as well. We can do that on another one. R&D, that's one thing I've got to tell you, is you get it every year, not just 3 years back, but almost every company that qualifies gets it every year going forward too.
Wow. You're blowing my mind right now, because I'm thinking about all of my clients that I work with. I'm thinking about people that I know that are close to me that have businesses. And I'm sure they don't know about this, because if they did, they would have told me about it. Yeah. I'm sure they don't know about this.
I'm sure they don't. Okay. I have a graph and I'll describe it for you. Pie chart, right? One slice of pie is, the government sets aside over $100 billion a year just for R&D, and less than $20 billion ever gets claimed every year. And 85% of that does get claimed is Nike, FedEx, Tesla, all SpaceX. Those companies are all over it. But only 15% of the slice that actually gets claimed is small and medium businesses. So almost nobody's taking advantage of it.
Why is that, Mike?
That's a great question. And I think it's because there's 5,000 tax credits, and the CPA, the business owner, thinks it's the CPA's responsibility, and it's not. You can't blame anyone, right? They don't know all 5,000 tax credits. It's really ultimately the business owner's responsibility, right? Not their accountant to know everything about everything, right? So we work together, by the way, with your accountant, with your CPA. We actually put together these 60-page studies, and we take that to your CPA and they file it, or your accountant, on your behalf.
So you guys do all the work.
100% of the work. And CPAs or accountants don't typically do R&D tax studies because they're very complex and nuanced, and they're technically beyond the skills of most CPAs. And even if they knew how to do it, it takes too much time and they're busy, right? And so they outsource it to companies like ours. And we work with one of the largest CPA firms in the United States with proprietary software that uses AI to put together this beautiful study. And we just did a farm in Nebraska, and the farm received $3.64 million, for their R&D tax credit just for the current year. Okay, now they're going to go back and do the 3 years, and they'll receive over $10 million. But they took their study to the treasurer of the state of Nebraska, who's a tax attorney, who's the friends with the owner of that farm, the treasurer of the state of Nebraska. And let me give you a direct quote, what this gentleman said when he looked over our 60-page study for this company. And I'm just going to read it so I don't get it wrong. But he said, "This is golden. It's put together very well. Everything is locked down." Okay, and that,
wow,
this is incredible what we can do. These 60-page, 30 to 60-page studies. And we'll do one for every year. And there's a contingency fee. The big companies charge, so there's no cost or risk, to find out. But if you receive $1 million, let's just say, we charge a 20% contingency fee. Okay, so $200,000. but you save $1 million, right? The big company out there, the number one company, charges 35%. And you see 30% more as an average out there. And so we are also trying, being very competitive. And then we back it up with audit protection as well. But the odds of you getting audited are so minute, okay? And we'll back it up even if you were. So it's a full-on, great partnership.
Wow, I love everything about this. It sounds like this R&D tax credit is the new U.S. Gold Rush.
That's what we call it, the R&D Gold Rush. And we say since it was signed into law the 4th of July, a quintupling, right? But times 4 years, okay? And you know what? We haven't found a company that's already done it. We're out there helping companies. So it's not like, oh, you've done it, you should use us and we'll only charge you 20%. No one's done it. What we say, like I walk into a winery, every winery, brewery, distillery qualifies. And this is the question I'll ask them. How much did you get on your R&D tax credit last year? And we always get the same answer. You could ask that to a farmer or anyone. And they always say, huh? Okay. What's that? Okay. Nobody's heard, they don't even know what it is, right? And so it's very exciting. I want to mention one more thing that's important. There's a big opportunity to do what I do. Okay. So there's an opportunity to work with us and refer businesses, and you get paid very, well for, your portion of the contingency fee. And you get paid 4 times more in the first year, right? Because we go back 3 years. Plus you get every year going forward. So it's a residual 100% into the future. So we're always looking for more reps, and it doesn't, you don't need a license. It doesn't cost money. And, it's a beautiful thing. So if anyone's interested in, helping to get the word out to the farms, to the breweries, distilleries, manufacturing companies, it's a wide open, the Gold Rush is for people who are out there spreading the word.
Yes, I'm so glad that I'm now partnered with you. So anyone that's listening and they want more information, they can call me.
Absolutely. Let me say this too. 36 states, in addition to the federal credit, everybody qualifies for this in all 50 states. But 36 states offer their own R&D tax credit. Okay. And like California's is better than the federal and goes back 4 years instead of 3. Okay. And
can you get the federal?
I'm
sorry. Can you get the federal and the state?
Yes, you get both. So it's 36 states. Okay, offer it, and it's really exciting. Let me read you this one thing. Here's what counts: staffing, software, heat, light, power, external workers, clinical volunteers, third-party payments, research contributions. All of that qualifies, and you're technically double dipping. Because you're taking it on your taxes, and then you're getting a specific R&D tax credit as well.
Wow! So this is what I'm thinking right now. When you said that California and 36 other states, they can get the state and the federal. So all of the marijuana farms that are in California, they can take the R&D tax credit, federal and the state.
They don't get. They get the state only because it's not fair. That's the good question. So the marijuana business or the cannabis industry, they can only get the state one. Okay. They can't get the federal one because it's not federally approved.
Got it. Well, that was great to find out. This is all right, my C-suite sisters. I know you're listening. I know you're going to be chomping at the bit for this. So you know what to do. Just reach out to me. You have my number. You have my social media at I am Dr. Pamela. You can call me at 585-454-9827, or you can hit me up on my email at consult@totallyu-nique.com. You guys know how to find me. And I'm going to drop a link in this podcast in the show notes, just so you can just click that link and reach out. But we want to cover a few more questions. I just wanted to drop that to you because I know that you are going to want to have more discussions about this, and then we can schedule a one-on-one with you personally with Mike, so you can find out how you can qualify for your personal R&D tax credits for your business. All right. So when we talk about the R&D tax credits, I'm sure there are some misconceptions or costly mistakes that you see people making, right? Especially those who think it doesn't apply to me.
the biggest mistake everybody makes, and I think 100% of people make this, is when you hear the word research and development, a picture forms in all of our minds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lab. It's people in white coats with, test tubes and smoke coming out, right? And so that's natural. Everybody thinks that. And I'll tell you a great story is one of my friends helped a yogurt company get an R&D tax credit. Now, they were the headquarters and they had a bunch of franchises. So the franchises don't qualify, but the headquarters did. But the owner of the yogurt franchise out of LA, he said, I don't think I qualify, because everybody thinks they don't qualify, right? So, but my friend, he toured my friend through his facility there in LA, the big yogurt. And as he was touring through the facility, there was a room and it said R&D on the door. And he goes, what are you talking about? You don't qualify. He goes, you can even have it on your door. And so, people just think, I don't have a lab, right? And it's just natural. And the accountants think that, and the business owners think that, but it's any new or improved product or process. And it doesn't have to be new to America. It's new or improved for your company. And if you're just trying to make everything better or cheaper or faster, what company isn't? So everybody thinks you're trying to make yourself better, right? All of us are trying to get better every year. So, it's so many companies qualify, they just don't know it.
All right. So I have an example for you. I was talking to someone about this today. I know someone that has a transportation company, and they're doing a pilot program with daycares in the area because we have a shortage of bus drivers or drivers with their CDL licenses. And so they're started this pilot program to help provide transportation so that these children can get back and forth to school and daycare. And it's like a beta test. Is that something that she should try to see if she can qualify for, her and the daycare?
100%. That word sounds like R&D to me. Okay, pilot program, right? So because there's a chance that it doesn't work out, right? You know what I mean? So any beta test, any pilot program that you should find out, right? I'm not saying for sure it would qualify, but hey, it takes 5 minutes to find out if you're a candidate for these. And some companies can get smaller ones in 20, 30, 45,000. That's great. Even a startup can qualify if they're less than 5 years old and they do less than 5 million a year in revenue. They can take the R&D tax credit on their payroll taxes instead of, everything else. So there's a special provision for startups in this program. But typically the biggest one, companies that are paying a lot in taxes, this is a tax credit. So if they owe $2 million, we give them $1 million tax credit. They only have to write a check for $1 million to the IRS.
Wow. I mean, this sounds like no matter where you fall on the business spectrum, that you should take the 5 minutes, because it doesn't cost you anything to inquire to see if you qualify. But and that can be another misconception or a way where people miss out too, not taking advantage of those 5 minutes to just get the determination, because you don't know. And if you don't try, then you certainly can't qualify. But if you do try, you got a 50-50 chance either way, right? Exactly.
And so it's
no brainer.
I think everybody thinks that their accountant would be taking it if they knew, if they qualify, but that's not, I think the one thing I've learned in my business career, it was a great advice to me. And it was the number one thing we all have to do is take personal responsibility for our successes and failures. And so if you blame, hey, my accountant didn't point, it's everybody's responsibility. So one of the senators in Iowa did a speech, and he said, what bothers me is many of you here, business owners and accountants. Okay. So I love that he said both of them, right? It's not the accountant's fault, right? It's, hey, are basically think these incentives are just for big companies and are missing out. And so, he basically he encouraged everybody to, here's what he said exactly. I'll read it. Too often, small and medium businesses just simply are not taking advantage of the R&D and many other incentives. You have to show up and find out, right? If you qualify, they made these benefits to help small and medium businesses, yet they're they're missing out. And we just want to help. We just want to make people aware and find out if we can help you with a substantial tax credit to really impact your business, your bottom line, and you're going to get it every year in the future as well.
Wow. Why has it been so hush hush? Why has it been so hush hush? $1 million question, right? Why has this been so hush hush? Because the small and mid-sized businesses are the ones, that can really take advantage of this, and the ones that need it most.
I'll tell you, a lot of people heard of the ERC, right? The Employee Retention Tax Credit. That, my friend who's been doing R&D for many years, he said before ERC came out, people didn't believe there was mailbox money. They didn't even believe it, okay, because they didn't understand tax credits. He said the ERC actually helped his R&D business because now businesses believe that the government does provide money like that. ERC is gone, okay, but the R&D has been around since 1981, and it's permanent, and it just quintupled times 4. And so it's time to find out if your company business qualifies and take advantage of this if it's available to you.
Is there a cap on how much an organization can make in order to qualify for this?
No. And one of my friends called an aerospace company. He worked for the big giant company, the number one company in the country that does this, that charges 35%, by the way. They've had him cold calling, right? He called an aerospace company, which you would assume they were doing it. They were not, okay? And he helped them get a $30 million R&D tax credit. Okay. Now that's the biggest. It's unbelievable.
I'm telling you, you are blowing my hairline back right now, Mike. I'm sitting here. I'm just literally perplexed about this. Just literally, my neurons they're just firing like pistons all over the place right now.
It's exciting. It's exciting to go out and help businesses find this money. And then you're creating a permanent income stream for you, as a rep helping the business. It's a win-win, right? Because you're going to get, not only the prior 3 years, you're going to get the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, okay, as well. Almost every business that qualifies every year in the future.
Wow. So, Mike, you said that the businesses will have to amend their taxes. Who does that? Their accountant does that? What?
Yes. So we create the study, okay? And the study is what the IRS is looking for. The thing that he said was golden, okay? Locked down, right? So we would create the prior 3-year studies for them. We gather some information. It takes maybe 1 hour, 2 hours of work to get the data together, to put together the study. And we would give that study to their accountant or CPA, and they would file the amended return just with the study.
Wow. That is so amazing. So let's look forward a little bit. Now that these changes are in play, how should smart, forward-thinking business owners be approaching these tax planning differently? How should we approach tax planning differently if we're in business?
Okay, that you have great questions, okay? Because once the business owner really we do this for them. We help them. We get them the 3 years back in current year. Now in the future years, they're usually going to get more. 1, because they're trying to grow, but 2, because now they understand the credit. And so they're able to build their business around qualifying for the credit. And so they really get better at it year after year, making sure that the activities they're doing are, qualified and backed up for their next year's R&D tax credit. But, we had people tell us, hey, I took a deduction for R&D on my tax return, so I already did it. But that's not correct. You can deduct R&D on your regular tax return and still get the R&D tax credit.
Wow, that's amazing. So now you said that it was available in other countries, and that's why it's here to make us more competitive to other countries. I want to talk specifically about, you were saying that, like myself now, I'm a team member, that we can bring on other team members. I want to talk specifically about the benefits for team members. And I have a question. I don't know the answer, but I'm sure you do. If it's available in other countries, let's say it's available in China, I'm assuming.
It is. And it's
okay. right? And I'm a rep here in the United States, but I have friends or I know someone that has a business in China, and I help them to acquire these R&D tax credits. Can I get paid on that from another country?
No, sorry. We only do it currently in the United States, but 50 countries do this, but our expertise is U.S. tax.
U.S. tax. Okay.
But just so you know, we just raised ours from 20% a year to 100% the current year. China's is 200% the current year. So China's is still twice as good as ours.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because they want to be competitive on a global scale. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, then that makes sense. So for individuals that are interested in joining us in this crusade, because it does sound like a crusade to help businesses to get back all of the tax credits, especially the small and mid-sized business. If people want to join us in this money making, and it sounds like as of July 4th, it's almost ground floor, money making gold rush opportunity. What do they have to do, and how easy is it to join? How easy is it?
It's free to sign up. There's no monthly required fees. There's no license required. And it takes less than 2 minutes to fill it out. Okay. And you get this incredible back office that's that's not free for the company to provide, but it's free for you. And there's training. There's 15 live Zooms a week on different products and services and solutions. And everything is there for you. You only refer. You don't do the presentation to the client. You don't gather the data to put together the R&D study. This is a pure referral business. No license required. You make the introduction, and then by the way, this pays usually in 2 to 3 weeks. You get paid quickly on the employee retention tax credit, which I have some experience with that as well. Took forever because there was a pause on it, and people are still waiting on their checks and to get paid, which was unfortunate. But the R&D tax credit, no such story. Okay, you get paid right away on the 3 prior year amended returns. There could be a little wait on those, but it's very lucrative. And it pays right away. And so people should take advantage. They can contact you. You can send them out a link, and they can find out more about the opportunity to help business owners throughout our country, not just with R&D, but payroll tax savings and much more, and see if it's something that they can add. I call it create a strategic alliance with us. And we do this with CPAs. I partner with CPAs, and we provide them the R&D tax studies. But they're interested in everything we do. They're interested in the payroll tax savings, energy savings, all the things we can do for businesses.
Wow, this sounds like a one-stop shop for businesses to save money.
It is, and we have an AI-generated dream score, we call it, where we do a free analysis. It takes about 15 minutes. And we give you this beautiful report that shows you all the areas where we can help you save money, including offering people an AI assistant. And if you haven't heard, we'll do a podcast on that, because when you hear an AI assistant in action today, you're like, oh my God, that sounds human. Because they even say and right? They make them human, and they can answer all your calls, schedule appointments, and they answer all the questions. They're experts more than you and me, even on R&D and payroll tax savings, because it's trained and it never says too much or too little. So it's incredible. We have that as a product also.
Is there anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to add?
I think we've covered the opportunity. I think we should do more podcasts. Okay. And we'll talk about payroll tax savings, which is incredible. We can talk about AI assistance, which is also a dream, okay, for all of us. We all want to have a $100,000 a year executive assistant to take care of everything for us so we can go travel the world. Well, an AI assistant can do most of that for you for a few $100 a month, okay? So it's very incredible. So I think just follow up, find out more. We definitely need more help to get the word out and help these business owners. Either way, we want to help people.
This is the ground floor. Like, this is really ground floor as of July 4th.
It is. The gold rush is on for R&D tax credits, and there's a big opportunity to help businesses and help your family by helping businesses.
Well, there, you've heard it here first, my C-Suite sisters. You've heard it here first. So I hope you have your pickaxe and shovel ready to take advantage of this R&D tax credit gold rush, because we are taking it to the streets. And I would love for you to join my team. If you're on my team, you're on Mike's team, and he is the absolute GOAT at this. And so just click on the link, give me a call, hit me up on my socials, or email me, and I can set you up with an opportunity to speak with the one and only Mike Hinsvard. Woo!
Thank you.
A great shout out for being here, Mike. Thank you so much. This was wonderful. This was great information. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you coming.
I look forward to doing a meeting with you, doing this again in the near future. Have a great day.
I thank you so much for joining the Grace and Grind podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Pamala Brown-Grinion, and until next time, and always remember to create your totally unique day on purpose.